Good morning. Today, Luke and I are off to Kaunas. It'll be my second trip there, his first, and we're going to do tons of exploring. We're going to spend the night, so we'll have a little bit more than 24 hours to get to know it. It's been a little chilly and rainy, so we might be doing some more indoor activities than before, but we've got our raincoats, we've got our umbrellas, and we're ready to battle the elements and explore some more. And finally eat some cheese curd donuts. Let's go. It's a little rainy. We've got our umbrella. It's windy as well. So an adventurous afternoon in Kaunas ahead of us. We're just getting to the Basilica, which means that we can walk down Leisves, the pedestrian street, and do some exploring and find some lunch. Leisves Aleja, the tree-lined pedestrian street in Kaunas, is 1.6 kilometers long, or almost exactly 1 mile, making it the longest pedestrian street in Eastern Europe. There's a lot of construction happening in Kaunas at the moment, so pretty much all of the pedestrian street in the old town is closed and inaccessible. It just means we'll have to come back to visit and see it when it's all finished being upgraded. We booked a stay at a little apartment hotel called Art and Comfort through Booking.com. The room is basically a hotel room with a nice big bed, some beautiful art, a big TV, and extra blankets in case it got cold at night. It had a private bathroom that had a huge shower and all of the soaps and shampoos and even natural toothpaste to use. Just outside of the room was a shared space with 2 other rooms that were located here. Each room gets its own table and chairs and then a fully outfitted kitchen to share. The hotel is called Art and Comfort Rooms. We booked it on Booking.com, I'll link below. It costs $45, I believe, maybe $49. But it's so great. We're literally across the road from Kaunas Castle, so we're right in the heart of the old town. It took us about 40 minutes to walk here from the bus station. But there are buses that you could take a bus instead, or you could hop on one of those one of those scooters to get here a little quicker. But there's a lot of construction going on, so the pedestrian roads are basically blocked off. But hopefully we'll be able to see plenty of the old town still, and it's not raining right now, so we're gonna head off and have some lunch and have some more traditional Lithuanian food because we're in Lithuania, and then we're gonna get out and explore, and hopefully the rain holds out. But if not, got our umbrellas and it's not too cold yet, so let's go. We walked a few blocks to a popular Lithuanian restaurant, which I'd initially tried back in Vilnius a few weeks ago. There were still plenty of things on the menu that I wanted to try, and now we could order twice as much food to share. They make their own gita. It's got like, I don't know, what is that? Caraway pods floating in it? It's so good.
It's very.
Besides the delicious homemade gita, or kvass as it's called in English, we also shared a veal stew, which was on top of a huge helping of creamy mashed potatoes. The meat was tender, the stew was so rich, and there were little mushrooms in it as well. It came with a side of beetroot and pickles. Then there was the Kugelis, or potato pie. The pie had huge chunks of tender pork meat in it, and as you can see, it was topped with cream and bacon. It's like shredded mash, bacon. It's really hot. Watery. It's so good. It's literally a potato pie. It's amazing. With bacon. That was so good. We're so full now. Plenty of energy now to walk all afternoon, and it's just drizzling a little bit, but we're gonna go and explore the old town now. After lunch, we walked over to Kaunas Castle, where we climbed up to the observation deck to look out over the river. We wandered through the main square, where the town hall building is, over to the cathedral, where, unlike my last trip to Kaunas, it was open, so we could go inside and see. As we were exploring the old town, we looked out over the river and noticed a viewpoint at the top of a hill. I had a quick look on Google Maps and confirmed that it was open to the public, so we headed across the bridge to have a look out over the old town. To get to the top, you can take a little cable car for €1, or you can walk up the stairs to the left. It wasn't very high up, and we were full of potatoes, so we decided to head up the stairs. We made it. It's not that steep, and there's not that many stairs. Probably takes 5 minutes, but definitely gets the heart rate up. Let's see what this view's all about. We are headed to Kaunas Gallery. It's like an outdoor art gallery, art space where there's a ton of street art. I've seen some pictures of it and read a little bit about how it got started, but I'm excited to see what it looks like and see how big it is. It seemed like quite a big space, so let's see. Kaunas Gallery, or Courtyard Gallery, was started by the Lithuanian artist Vytenis Jakas as a way to tell the stories of the Jewish people who used to live in this neighborhood before World War II. However, during the process of creating the art, he got to know the other neighbors in this courtyard and realized that they had stories to tell too. So this courtyard is about people and community and the stories about them. I've linked below to an article written by Vytenis if you want to read more about it from his perspective as the artist. So when we were at that observation point, we saw a Lithuanian flag on the other side of the city, and I looked it up on Google Maps and it said that it was an observation point again. So we've walked over and up, and I can't see where you get into it, but it's a nice view. This is called the Hill of Owls. There's little owl statues all around, and it's not as good a view as the other observation tower, but it was a nice walk up here, and the houses up here and the ones that we passed on the way up were so beautiful, like so colorful and a little bit different to ones I've seen before, so that was cool. Worth it for that, worth it to tour around a little bit. Now I think it's time for a craft beer, so we'll head back in towards the old town and find one of the ones that I've pinned on my map. We went inside for craft beer, which we got, and we also came back out with these little, they're not like wines. This is a brandy with cherry in it.
Cherry brandy.
And this other one, she said it's like a vodka, but it's Lithuanian. I thought the bottles looked like mezcal, that's why I asked. It smells like thyme, like the herb. It's so smooth. Dangerous though, they're like 40% alcohol. Our other stop of the night was at 2.5 Obolio, a cider bar that we'd passed earlier and that I'd read was making its own cider. When we got there and had a peek inside, a woman outside having a cigarette told us to go in because this is the best bar in Kaunas. I don't know if it was the best since I haven't been to all the bars in Kaunas, but the cider was tart and delicious, the kepta duona, or fried bread, was crunchy, packed with garlic flavor and not too greasy. The music was great, and the bar staff were so friendly. The next morning, after finding a good spot to have a coffee, we hopped in a Bolt, and we headed to the 9th Fort, a museum and memorial site just on the outside of Kaunas. The memorial commemorates the lives of over 30,000 Jews, Lithuanians, and other Europeans who were killed here by the Nazis. The museum is where you can learn more about the fort and how it was part of the much larger Kaunas fortress. You then walk through the area that later became a prison used by the Soviets, as well as a sort of way station for prisoners who were transferred to labor camps in other parts of the Soviet Union. When Lithuania was occupied by the Nazis during World War II, it became an execution chamber. The museum discusses all of this, as well as giving names, faces, and stories to the people who passed through these walls. We are at the 9th Fort Museum, which we just went into. It's €3 per person, very reasonable. It's huge. It used to be a prison, and then before that it was a fort. It's super interesting. There's tons of information in English, really thorough for €3, I thought. So now we're just gonna walk around a little bit. To get here, we took a Bolt, which is like Uber. It cost €8. It's quite far from the city center, and if we wanted to take a bus, it was gonna take us almost an hour, so it seemed like the better option. And the Bolt only took about 15 minutes, so a lot quicker. After leaving, we headed back to the city center to have lunch at a little vegetarian cafe. They had some Lithuanian dishes like beetroot soup, dumplings, and potato pancakes, but all of the sauces and fillings were mushrooms and vegetables, which was a nice light change to our meals from the day before. We did make it to Spurgine, which is a famous bakery in Kaunas that everybody recommended that we check out. They have cheese curd donuts, which everyone has told me about and everyone has recommended that we try. I tried to go there last time I was in Kaunas, but they were closed. So this time they were open. I didn't film inside because it was so busy and I got a little stressed out. But we got to the front of the line and they were out of cheese curd donuts. The other thing they're famous for is this like chicken broth that you dip their freshly baked bread in. But we were running late for our bus, so we just wanted to grab a couple of donuts and go. So we did try some of their other donuts, which were so delicious. They were warm as well. So anyway, I go without a cheese curd donut yet again. That being said, it was such an incredible trip to Kaunas. I love that city so much. It's definitely one that I will be revisiting regularly. The craft beer scene, the bar scene in general is so fun. It's just a nice, young, vibrant, creative city, and I'm really looking forward to getting to know it more. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It's very different to what I did on my first trip for the most part, and I had such a great 24 hours. So if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. It really supports my channel. Share it on with your friends, people who are interested in travel and exploring out of the way destinations. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks as always for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.